Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. My name is Fernandez, and in this video I'll be presenting our recent TMLR publication entitled Connecting Parameter Magnitudes and Hessian Eigenspaces at Scale using sketched methods. Our work is motivated by an interesting observation, namely, when training deep neural networks, most parameters can be pruned, that is, they can be multiplied by 0, but not only that, the corresponding pruning masks appear early in training and they don't change much during training. An interesting similar observation has been made for loss landscapes, namely both gradients and Hessian curvature seem to be confined to a tiny subspace that also doesn't change much during training. So our main question is, are those two seemingly unrelated phenomena connected? Further motivation for our work is that working with parameters is generally much cheaper than working with curvature. So any connection here could be leveraged to save resources. Our work tackles the following questions. Can this similarity be measured? If so, how? What similarity can be considered high, and what are the implications? To answer this, we develop a methodology to compare arbitrary k-parameter masks to top k Hessian eigenspaces. We also provide an algorithm and software to perform said measurements at scale involving Hessian eigendecompositions. We observe that in deep learning, this connection is orders of magnitude larger than random, and we also discuss potential implications for pruning, optimization, uncertainty quantification, and loss landscape analysis. To compare parameters with Hessian subspaces, we observe that both the act of applying a pruning mask and extracting a top k Hessian eigendecomposition yield orthogonal matrices of the same shape. Then we can use Grassmannian metrics to measure the distance between the spaces that these matrices span. We perform a theoretical and empirical analysis of several Grassmannian metrics and conclude that the overlap metric is stable and the most desirable for our case. We also derive a random baseline value of k divided by d for this metric. Computing this overlap metric for deep learning is still challenging because it requires access to this U-top object, that is the matrix with the top k Hessian eigenvectors. This is typically an intractable task with very high memory, arithmetic, and measurement requirements, but recent advances in sketched methods for randomized linear algebra allow us to approximate the top k eigenpairs with only the order of k parallelizable measurements and dk memory. This is still quite a lengthy task. We can see here that for 12 million parameter networks it can still take a while, but it is now a tractable task. We have developed a PyTorch library to perform these eigendecompositions that is available in pip and also with this QR code. We measured the overlap in different deep learning scenarios and observed across the board that the measured overlap is orders of magnitude higher than random baseline for all observed splits, steps, rank sizes, and problems. This means that parameter inspection cheaply informs us about the curvature, which can be beneficial anywhere where curvature plays a role. For example, second order optimization in training, optimal brain damage theory in pruning, Laplace approximations for uncertainty quantification, and loss landscape analysis. Still, this number is quite small because k is typically in the hundreds and d in the millions, so spaces are far from identical, and there is no direct mapping from the parameter space into the curvature space. In conclusion, we propose to use Grassmannian metrics to compare arbitrary parameter masks and Hessian eigenspaces. We use sketched eigendecompositions to measure overlap at scale, and we provide the sketch library to do so. We observe a DL overlap that is orders of magnitude larger than baseline, albeit far from identical. And in general, we connect expensive Hessian quantities with cheap parameters observations. For future work, we also explored cheaper alternatives to overlap, like parameter perturbation methods and the use of PSD curvature matrices. It would also be interesting to explain why do we observe a high overlap and to actually leverage these potential benefits into downstream applications like the discussed ones. Thank you very much.